Well, I thought it was going to be an interesting game. And the question was, coming into Sunday Night Football, which I'm guessing most of you finished off your absolute buffet of football excess with the SEC returning, with all of the fun that we had, all of the ability to just dive in and gorge ourselves. Were the Saints going to be okay? Were the Packers for real? I would say those are the two primary questions that were sort of looming over Sunday Night Football. Was Drew Brees, who's still playing without Michael Thomas, granted, was Drew Brees and the Saints' window still open to win a championship? Remember the Saints, sorry to bring it up, New Orleans fans, 3 straight seasons losing in the playoffs on the final play. Minnesota Miracle, the should-have-been called pass interference leading into an overtime field goal by the Rams to go to the Super Bowl, and then the catch in the end zone by the Minnesota Vikings to eliminate them by their tight end who may have pushed off in the back left corner down in the Superdome. By the way, that tight end, incredible catch in the game against the Tennessee Titans in a losing effort. Just an absolutely man play there. But was the Saints' window still open? Does Drew Brees still have the mojo? Does he still have the spice to win another Super Bowl down in the Big Easy? Conversely, was the Packer wins in the NFC North dominant wins over the Vikings and over the Lions, was it fool's gold? Going on the road, I know it's not like a typical dome environment that you would experience in the Superdome going up against the Saints. But going on the road, was this Packer offense for real? And I think leaving Sunday Night Football, the answer is the Packers are definitely for real. They've now put up 122 points. That's the most in team history through 3 games, and the Packers have had a pretty good offensive history, particularly in recent years with Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. So for this to be the most points they've ever scored through 3 games, and for them to pull away the way that they did against the Saints, tells me a lot. It tells me that the Packers right now are probably the best team in the NFC. And we'll get into that a little bit during the course of the show. I think maybe at the top of hour 2, I'll dive into the 3-0 teams and tell you which ones really stand out to me and which ones feel for real. But spoiler alert, the Packers definitely feel for real as they are now 2-0. Now, we're not done with week 3 yet because we have an incredible game going on between the Chiefs and the Ravens to close out week 3. Maybe the best game of the regular season, certainly the best Monday Night Football game we're going to have all season. Patrick Mahomes going up against Lamar Jackson. So that is something to be looking forward to, even if you didn't feel like you got to see every game. I watched so much college football on Saturday and so much NFL on Sunday. It felt amazing to be able to just dive into the cornucopia of football excess. And this is what I do every Saturday and Sunday. I basically watch college football from 11 a.m. my time on Saturday, and I don't finish watching football until the Sunday Night Football game ends up on Sunday. Now, there are other things I'm doing during the course of the day. I got kids. I help flag football. We had soccer. Got young kids. Got games to go to. Good thing about having a phone, you can sit there on the sideline, be able to keep tabs on everything that's taking place. So there were a ton of big takeaways, and we're going to talk about a lot of those big stories. We're going to talk with Mississippi State head coach Mike Leach, scheduled to in the 3rd hour of the program, to talk about his big win over LSU. We'll talk with my buddy from Fox Bet Live, Todd Furman. We'll also talk about basically every team in the NFL and every game that mattered in college football. So buckle up. And if you're only in your car, as I know some of you are, for 10 or 15 minutes and you're only going to hear a small portion of our football talk today, you've absolutely positively got to subscribe to the podcast and make sure that you can hear, especially on Football Mondays, a breakdown of basically the entire gridiron landscape, and you don't miss anything at all. So that was the big takeaway. The question was, are the Saints still the Saints? And are the Packers on a different level offensively? And even without Devontae Adams, the answer is yes. 122 points for the Packers through 3 games. The Packers are for real. I think they're the best team in the NFC. I also think that the Saints may have passed their window. We'll see when Michael Thomas comes back what the exact scenario is going to be. But if I were betting right now who's going to win the NFC South, I think you have to, even though they lost week 1, I think you have to say that the Bucs are looking better, that Tom Brady and the trajectory of this Bucs offense is looking better than what we are seeing right now from the Saints. Now, the Saints have started slow before. They've gotten hot as the season progresses. But when you keep having to use Taysom Hill, and they had the disastrous fumble as a result in a tie game, when you keep having to use Taysom Hill as frequently as the Saints do, you have the most successful passer in the history of the NFL. And I understand the seduction of Swiss Army knife Taysom Hill, who seems like he can do everything, but you've got Drew Brees already. If you are bringing in Taysom Hill as often as the Saints are, to me, what that is telling me is that the Saints don't feel like Drew Brees is the same player that he has been over time. He's 41. Look, Brady's 43, but it feels like Brady's 43 is a younger, stronger, shouldered 43 than Drew Brees. We'll have to see. It's still early, but I am not buying stock right now in the New Orleans Saints, even in the NFC South. I'd be inclined to buy stock right now in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The other biggest game in the NFL that most of you were watching Sunday afternoon that I was watching, Russell Wilson has basically, it appears to me, if he stays healthy, got the MVP locked up. DK Metcalf, one of the all-time dumbest plays that a player can make, celebrating too early, getting Leon leaded, having the ball knocked out of your hand too early. Notwithstanding that, DK Metcalf is almost uncoverable right now as a compatriot of Russell Wilson. And so if you were watching the Seahawks can't get anybody off the field defensively. But to me, what the early part of this NFL season has been all about is defense is dead. You got to be able to score 30 plus, or your team has really no chance of putting together any kind of substantial winning streak. And so you start to look at the 3-0 teams out there in the NFL right now. The Buffalo Bills are a quintessential example of this. They were a defensive-driven team. Suddenly, Josh Allen has turned into Jim Kelly. He's throwing the ball all over the field. And they're making plays, the likes of which we never saw this Buffalo Bills offense ever make before. It's as if Sean McDermott finally said, you know what? We can't keep winning games 20-17, 17-14. It's time to make big-time splashes on offense. The Baltimore Ravens playing tonight against the Chiefs, both of those teams. Baltimore's the quintessential 2000 Ravens defense a lot of people think about, the greatest ever. They didn't score a touchdown for a month with Trent Dilfer as quarterback. Now it's going to be a shootout. By the way, I like the Chiefs. 4-1 start for our six-pack. We went 5-1 last week, 4-1. We took the Chiefs +4 on Friday.